This is the Speak Easy podcast, where we talk about the behind the scenes of what it is to be the successfully paid speaker or author. And there's some things that we got to talk about. Because guess what? We're not just trying to make now money. We're trying to make later money. Y'all remember that candy? Now and later? Now don't ask my don't ask my teenagers, because they'll tell you it's now or later. That's that whole Generation Z stuff. It's now and they like it's one or the other. Pick one. No. It's now and later. So we're trying to be in a position where we can make money now and later. And that means that we have to have some different processes in place, some different structures in place. But here's the biggest thing is that we got to understand we can't do it by ourselves. We can't. Sometimes we got to get coaching. Sometimes we have to connect with somebody who knows a structure or a strategy that can take us to a whole nother level. So with that being said, I'm going to say hi to my guest for this evening. Hey, Sekeena.
Hey, everyone. How are you?
So I'm super excited because listening to Sekeena and what she's been able to build and what she's helping other people build, other people as entrepreneurs to build, it's amazing. But it's amazing because it's something that, can take you far. We hear about the little, the fast action stuff. Oh, I want to do this and get a return, or turn around in 24 hours, do this and get a return in 30 days. And listen, it sounds good a lot of times, and it's because a lot of times it's too good to be true. Like, it doesn't work that way. But when you find somebody that's giving you a proven structure that can say, okay, if you do X, Y will happen. Those are the people that you definitely want to connect with and that you want to get in. I was about to say get in bed with. That's not a good analogy. That you want to partner up with. With that being said, Sekeena, let them know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll dive into today's topic.
Okay. Well, I am Sekeena Jackson, and I'm at Home Business Systems. And what we do is people hire us to help them start businesses in medical billing, medical coding. We'll talk about all that later. But we help make your dream a reality. We take the risk out of starting a business. Every little downfall that we did, we're helping you make sure that you don't have those downfalls too, so that you can have a successful business and then gain generational wealth.
Ooh, that part. Now, this is the thing. I often hear people talk about multiple streams of income. And they think that multiple streams of income means Monday I fry chicken, Tuesday I'm crocheting hats, Wednesday I'm babysitting. And what you're doing and the structure that you're giving people is definitely taking them away from that twos and fews model. So what brought you to be able to learn this model? Like, what made you step into this?
A lot of things. One is to stop people doing that side hustle of, I'm going to go ahead and braid hair, or I'm going to fry chicken and make plates on the side. We have all know some family member or someone that's doing those things. But when you leave this world, is your kids going to fry chicken? And why are you the worker bee in your own business? Like, you're not supposed to be the worker bee. You're supposed to teach your kids how to build a business. So the reason why I got into this is because I've always been of service in every job that I did, whether it was customer service. When I went into the military, I went into the military for several reasons. But one of the reasons was, how can I ask for somebody to serve and protect my family if I can't do it myself? So I went into the military for that. I actually became a flight attendant after 9/11 because I'm like, let's show it's okay to fly on planes. And then, we started the employment agency, and then we started people working at home and building businesses, because a lot of people came to us and they said, I don't have nobody to watch my kid if I go out and I work at this brick and mortar place. So then how can we resolve that issue? And then how can we resolve that issue that you are no longer working? Because even if you're working from home and you're working 12 hours a day, now to be at work for 8 hours a day and not see your family. I think it might be worse to be there for 12 hours and then nobody can say, hey, or how you doing, or anything like that. We want to leave something for our children. And my goal is for us to break the chains. It's a vicious chain that we keep on passing on to generation to generation, is that we have to work. We have to work. Our knees have to hurt at night. Our feet have to ache for it to be really a successful work day. And that's just not true. We need to work smarter and not harder anymore.
Now, here's the thing. As entrepreneurs, as speakers, we're always talking about, we have to put money into our business. And a lot of times we won't invest in the coaching and programs that we need because we're saying we don't have enough money. Something that, my coach was saying this morning that really stood out to me was that, it's not always about, cutting back. Sometimes it's about just going out and finding a way to make more money. With that being said, I love the model that you're doing. So take them into that model a little bit better, because we hear call center and immediately our minds go to the furthest of regions.
Well, we're teaching you how to build a business from home. So while you're building that business, you're still at home, being able to take care of your family and to have a life and to spend with your family. Not only that, you're able to travel and do whatever you want to do. So our motto is that you're able to have a life while you have a business. So we don't work for our businesses. I teach people to work on their businesses. And with that, we teach them the structuring of it, how to get the right EINs, to make sure that they have the correct insurance, the contracts for their agents, the contracts for the clients that they're working with, to make sure that they have the right software in place, that even the other people that they're helping, that they're working from home too. So then we're kind of paying it forward. Even if those other people are not working, even if those other people don't have their own businesses, they're still able to work from home and be able to support and spend time with their families. So we give you everything that you need to start a profitable business from A to Z. People are like, but I don't know what I'm doing. That's the A to Z. We're getting you from the start line all the way down to the finish line. And even when you start making that first dollar, we're still sitting there saying, we're here to help you even farther than that. Now we want to sit there and make sure your business is growing even further. And then getting those 7 streams of income, because I have 6 divisions in my company that all fall together underneath the same umbrella.
See, that's the part that really stands out, is having it all underneath that same umbrella. But before you started this, what was some things that you did? I know we talked about the military and we talked about the flight attendant. What were some other things that you tried before you said, you know what? This model isn't working. Let me go to something else.
I think everything that I tried turned out to be unsuccessful for me, but it turned out to be a learning experience. So working in a call center as a customer service representative, I did that one. And when we're talking about you're just a number, this was my 23-year-old, was then like 5 or 6 years old. And he had an allergic reaction. He had to be sent to the emergency room. And the call center supervisor sat me in the back when I said I needed to go and said I needed to figure out what my priorities were. So at that moment, I knew I was just a number. And when I started a business, then my people wouldn't be just a number. But every experience that I had doing call centers, and I'm like, I can't work the hours you want me to, because we couldn't even set our own hours. It was, if you're working from 3 to midnight, then you just need to find a way for your child. If you don't see your child, then, oh, well, we have nothing to do with that. And I was like, well, that's not what I want to do. Or you have to work these certain days. Or if your kids are sick, then you have to ask permission to be able to take care of your own children. So those things just never worked for me. I just knew that that wasn't the life that I was supposed to live. I knew in every ounce of me when I woke up in the morning, it was just like, here I am, going to go to this job. I knew nothing was meant for me. now I wake up and I'm just like, who am I able to help? Like, who are we going to start to be able to be successful in their life? And I've always wanted to be able to help people succeed. Once I learned the secret of succeeding, I was like, all right, we need to pass this on to other people, because other people need to be able to do this too. Not just me. I can't make all the money in one job. I can't get all the contracts. But, you know, as they say, you have to share. You have to tell other people about things.
You know, that's interesting, because we always talk about, you know, you can tell a true master of something. When somebody is a true master of something, they always want to go back and teach somebody else. If somebody is telling you, oh, no, they don't want to share any information with you, they don't want to teach you, they don't want to train you, then they're not really a master. Tea and shade, they're really not a master. If you are a master at speaking, you should be passionate enough about speaking that you want to teach somebody else how to be a speaker. You're like, I need to. Like it's bubbling over on the inside. And if they're not, then you just got to go and think in your mind, that person is not really a master then.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to keep all that knowledge. Like that knowledge is bottled up. You're like, I got to tell people. I have to find a way to tell the masses that this is what's happening and this is how we can change our lives. Especially when you see so much stuff happening on the news and stuff. I'm just like, this doesn't make any sense anymore. People are losing their jobs, they're losing their houses, they're losing their cars. Unfortunately, people are even losing their children trying to find jobs. And it just doesn't make any sense anymore.
That is so true. And I think at this point, it's now where we have to come back and say, okay, what am I really doing here? Because we can play around with the twos and fews and be a hobbyist and not really be an entrepreneur. We can go ahead and twiddle our thumbs and think that we're going to be successful, you know, or just by happenstance, somebody's going to buy $3,000 and $5,000 and $50,000 of our product. But the reality is we have to set ourselves up for success. If we're not setting ourselves up for success, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
You're not only setting yourself up for failure, you're setting your children up for failure. You're setting your grandkids up for failure, because you have to be the person that's breaking that chain so then your kids and your grandkids can see what it's like. We learn from our parents and we learn from our grandparents. And if we keep on passing out the same thing, and it's not to sit there and say what they taught was wrong, because they taught what they knew. But now this is a different time. This is a time that we can show that you can be a true business owner and you can do these things. And just like other people that were before us in, you know, unfortunately, even other nationalities, that they've already passed this knowledge on. And we also need to pass that same knowledge on to others, so that we can have our children okay. Like right now, I'm okay that I know that if something happened to me today, my kids would be okay. And then my grandkids would have a company that they can also run. So I can rest easy knowing that I left something for my kids that they can be able to work successfully and not have to worry about it. And I think that's one of the keys to success. And then being able to, you know, not just leave a job and pass away, and then what happens? Nothing.
So look, and it was so interesting. One of the reasons why I was so excited that you came on is because when you were talking while we were in Atlanta, you know, you had a system and a business that was completely different than everybody else in the room, but you were still there speaking on what you had overcome and speaking on, you know, what you were able to successfully do. And that literally, you know, changes the game when you see somebody do that. Because I'm often telling people, as an entrepreneur, you should be a speaker. As an entrepreneur, you should have at least one book, because you are the expert in your industry. And so creating those multiple streams and creating those systems and those programs, literally, that's if you're the expert in that, going and talking to other people, why wouldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Or even if it's just to show other people that you can make it. Because unfortunately, even us as business owners, we get discouraged sometimes, and we need to be able to hear someone else say how they made it, how they overcame something else, some other diversity, and they go, well, I can make it too. And sometimes you just need to hear it. you just have to hear it. That's the best way I can do it. You know, if I didn't have some family members that own their own businesses, I would be unable to do it. If I didn't grow up in Woodland Hills, California, I know a whole bunch of people in Woodland Hills, California, like, yay. And a lot of my friends had, their parents were business owners. So I got to have a lot of conversations with them, but it was foreign to me because I didn't have anyone at that time in my family that I knew of that were business owners. Everybody worked for like the military, you worked for somebody else, you worked your 20 years, and then you retired. But then I met all these people and they like were all business owners and they all had all this time to spend with their children. I'm like, well, who are you? Where are you coming from? And then they told me, you know, how important it was to make sure that you owned a business, that you owned your own something to make sure that you can give it to other people.
Wow, that speaks volumes. You know, guys, when we're talking about leaving something for people to remember you by, we're talking about leaving a legacy. We're talking about not just, you know, oh, that person was a good person. That's great. That's nice.
As long as we don't go into those fish fries that happen.
And look, okay, that's nice. But we're talking about leaving a legacy, leaving leaving an Obama level of legacy, leaving a Dr. Maya Angelou level of legacy, leaving a Oprah level of legacy. That's a legacy because, you know, Jeff Bezos, and when you look at them, that's leaving a legacy. And it's interesting because one of the biggest things that we have to do in order for us to leave that legacy, in order for us to be in a position that we say we're going to, you know, do something different and you know, people are going to remember our name, is we got to step off that cliff.
Thank you. And so many, and what's to say that you can't do that? What's to say that you can't make that kind of legacy? You know, the legacy that I'm leaving is different than, you know, the Obamas or Oprah. But my legacy, what I wanted to do, because I'm service oriented and I want to help people, is I get to help other people start businesses so then they can hire other people. So I'm hoping my legacy, you know, other than my children, is that by time I leave this earth, I will help 10,000 people be working because of me. Because those people started businesses, and because one person started a business, they were able to hire 100 people. Another person started a business, they're able to help 100 people be self-sufficient and be on their own. And then that person is able to then pass that on to somebody else. So that's the legacy that I want to leave, is to be able to have people start their own businesses so then they can leave a legacy for their children. So I shouldn't be the only person that's leaving that. You need to leave that legacy for your children too.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, it's so funny because I said that for me, the legacy for me would be, I want to be that person that created platforms for other people to have their voices heard. And I said, so that means books, that means the podcast, that means the blog. I want it to be that literally people can be able to go and have their voice heard all across the world. No matter where they're coming from, no matter where they are, they have an opportunity to have their voice heard. And man, oh man, listen, is it going to be easy? Heck no.
It's not meant to be easy. It's not meant to. You're not going to appreciate the top of the mountain if you didn't have to struggle to get there.
Oh, you better say that again.
Well, you're not. If it was an easy climb, who would want to do it? How are you going to appreciate that view when you get to the top?
Come on. That is, oh my goodness. They just don't know how much that just spoke volumes. Listen, it's not going to be, every bit of it's not going to be easy. I can guarantee you that if you move forward, if you take that leap, there are going to be many, many parts of it that are really enjoyable. There are going to be moments where, like I was just in Atlanta a few weeks ago. We were planning out the tour for this month and rescheduling the dates because we're doing it around the book launch. There's pieces and parts of it that bring me joy.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't give it away for nobody. Listen, I wouldn't turn it down for nobody. I wouldn't give it away for it brings me joy. I had someone speaking to me yesterday that's a part of the anthology, and she said, I'm so thankful that I said yes to this opportunity. She said, I love what you are doing. And because she saw what I was doing and she loved what I was doing, she said, I want to help in any way possible. So literally for the tour, she was like, okay, what about this? What about that? She said, let me reach out to this person. Let me reach out. This is the thing. People will sow into you. People will pour into you. People want to help you get to where you're going, but you got to be moving first.
You do. You have to take that leap of faith to go ahead and do it, to have that passion. And when people see you have that passion, then they want to help you. Well, the right people want to make sure that they're helping you achieve that goal. I changed that word real quick because I'm a true believer too. Not everybody in your boat is rowing for you. Some people are drilling holes in that boat. So you got to be careful of those things too. But when people see that you have a great passion, they want to go ahead and help you succeed. And then when you're doing it, yes, it's going to be some blood, sweat, and tears. It is. But those little steps of the way, you'll just see it, and you have to remember to look down and go, "Woo, look how far I made it." Because if you just keep on looking up, you can't see how far you've gone yet. But if you look back behind you, you'll be like, hold up, I overcame all these things, and then look what I've done so far. So every few steps, you got to keep on looking back until you finally reach the top of that mountain. Just be like, you just see everything that you work for. And yeah, I had blood, sweat, and tears of over 7 years, days that I'm just like, why am I doing this? And those are the days I have to look back and like, let me look at all those people that I helped. Look how I helped my family. Look how I helped everything look at all the goals that I've actually achieved. And it makes me go, yes. And I might be at the top of one mountain, but I'm trying to get to the top of the next mountain now because I want to be able to help 100 women start a successful business that they can run and leave a legacy for their children next.
That speaks volumes because it tells you that, yes, listen, I may work and get to the top of one mountain, but I don't stop there. You definitely don't stop there. That's why this is one of the reasons why I was so excited about this interview is because, as a speaker, you don't stop there. Yes, you speak on stages. That's great. What are you doing after that? As an author, you don't just stop at publishing the first book. Okay, now how do you make that a business? What are you doing to go back and add value to that? When we see the people like the Jeff Bezos and the Oprah Winfrey's, that's what they do. They do one thing and then they go back and say, can I make this better? Oprah Winfrey had a show. She went from having a show to having her own network. How can I improve on this thing?
Yeah, and that's what you have to keep on looking at. I have a journal that sets my goals and every day of where I failed at doing something and what I achieved. So then I can go back in the month or the week and then twerk those little things that need to be corrected and need to be fixed. But that's what you need to do to just grow in general. You need to go back and then look at those things, and you kind of have to have that discipline. And when people come to us to help to run a business, sometimes I have to whip them into shape for a little bit. It's like, listen, why are we doing this? We don't do this in business. And they're like, yeah, it's still the employee mentality. I'm like, yeah, but my job is to break, like boot camp, I'm breaking down that employment mentality and making you a business owner instead. Like, we have people that's like, I'm learning medical billing and coding. Well, why are you learning medical billing and coding? Because that's what I need to run a business. No, you don't. You have people, we employ people that know medical billing and coding. We have supervisors and team leads, but we don't do that. What we do is run our businesses so that we can have an even more successful business. So then hopefully you can have a chain of businesses, or you can start another division and give it to each child that you have. If you have 3 or 4 kids, you should be able to give a division to each child. I have 6 divisions. Each one of them can have 2. because ain't no more. Mama ain't having no more. So those are the 3. That is it. If I make it to my grandkids, then, we'll separate them at that time.
Look, I told my kids, I said, look, I have a goal. I have a big goal of publishing 100 books. I said, at any given time, y'all could be able to go and do a sale on books and make money for yourselves and your children and do whatever needed to be done. But I know that that's not the only thing that I want to leave to them. So I know that there's other things I want to put in place. And, even with me building up the World Voice League, I know that there's some other things that I want to put in place with that. I want that to be on the same level, if not higher, because I'm just going to push it out there that I'm going higher than what people before me have done. Is I want to go above what Toastmasters has been able to do. I want to go above and beyond what speaker networks and speaker bureaus have been able to do. Why? Because there's still some key things that are missing in those areas. I see what's missing. I want to go above that. So I'm going to push for that.
But you know what you've already done, right? You've already left something more valuable to them than the business itself. They saw a mother that's hardworking, that knows how to run a business and make sure that she doesn't quit. Those things actually teaches them to not think like everybody else, to think outside of the box, to sit there and say, just because these parents are doing these things, my mother is doing exactly what she wants to do. So you're teaching them those valuable things that a lot of kids are just not learning anymore. They're just thinking, I'm going to get rich for not doing nothing. No, that doesn't really happen in the real world. You might see a few people that's doing it that's not really supposed to be rich. But I'm not going to say no names. But, everybody expects insta fame, or then they can't hold down a job, or they think that they have to work 40 hours. But you teach them something that's so valuable already that they know by watching you of how a business owner is. And that's going to be more than they're going to learn in college or more in high school that they'll ever learn.
Man, oh man, I can tell you that I saw the difference. I saw the change when I was at a meeting about a trip for Japan. And my daughter was interested in this trip for Japan. And so we had already scheduled her for the trip for Panama. So I said, okay, well, we'll just cancel that one and you'll do the one for Japan. That's fine. It'll be next year. It won't be this year. But she's excited. I was sitting there, and my son, who's an introvert like me, he's even more of an introvert. He got up and went up front to go ask questions. And my daughter and I looked at each other, because this is my son. My son, he doesn't do a whole bunch of trips and all of that. That's just not his personality. But he went, he gave him his information. He came back. I said, you interested in going to Japan? He said, yeah, it sounded interesting. He said, is that okay? Is that okay with the budget? Mm-hmm. That's okay with the budget.
Thinking outside of the box, because you're thinking outside of the box. You're not giving him that same thing. Like, I'm homeschooling my daughter because I don't want her to tote that you have to do this. You can't think outside of this. You have to do these things, and they're not thinking anything. And I've seen too many kids, by me hiring them, coming out of high school and college, that they just can't think on their own without someone giving them directions. Like, I did this. Well, then do ABC. Well, what's ABC? Like, you have to give them those. I'm just like, where is the thinking? Where is the common sense? And I don't think common sense is gone. I just think that the way that things are taught, that you don't have to think anymore. You just do what you're being told to do. So it's so hard to think outside the box. And that's why my daughter is homeschooled. I was like, no, we don't think outside the box. This is just not acceptable. It's not acceptable. And that's what we try to show. Like, we have a couple of people that are homeschooling their kids that have already on the business system. So they're homeschooling their kids because they're like, if you can do it, I can do it. I was like, anybody can do it. Don't think I'm the exception to the rule. Anybody can do it if you put in the hard work to go ahead and do it. You can travel with your kids. You can travel yourself. Like, when you have to spend time with family and stuff, owning your own business, makes you able to do those things, but not if you're working for your business. But if you're working on your business, then yes, you can go ahead and do those things.
Look, I was looking at Dorothea, and because she homeschools her kids as well. Her kids are teens, and they just recently decided that they were going to start a business. And, you know, they were also on a team panel that we did for the summit last month. And so, you know, that speaks volumes because you literally opened up an opportunity to allow other parents to stay home with their children and teach them how they like.
Yes. And I think it's important to teach them how you like. I used to be the volunteer. They gave me a volunteer award and I wasn't even a volunteer parent. And I was just like, I'm not a volunteer. I never signed up for it. And they're like, you're here every single week. Help it. Help was like, because I want to keep an eye on my child, you know, but we can only do that for 1 year. I had to pull her out of school in kindergarten. I was like, nope, we're not going to do this. We're not going to do this. I knew in kindergarten it was not the way that I wanted her to learn.
Listen, you ain't said nothing but a word because I'm thinking about my children. It's interesting too because we were in Philadelphia, and even now when I think about Philadelphia and the school districts there, and just the downfall of the school districts in general, I think about, oh my goodness, you know, they literally shut down schools to add kids to other schools. Like, so you overcrowded the schools. The dropout rate is sky freaking high. You're not really educating the kids on common things. Like, it was so interesting. We talk about how, okay, I'm gonna date myself a little bit. You know, when I was in school, I had shop and home ec. Most schools don't have that now. I said, now the school that my children have, they do have they have a cooking class, and they have a shop class. They have art, they have music, they have a whole bunch of stuff at their school that most schools don't have. And so they're like, oh, you know, well, we have that, but da-da-da-da. No, you don't understand. Most schools don't have that. They don't.
They don't. And it's becoming extremely overcrowded, except for I didn't know how, especially in Georgia. So if I'm trying to think of the most politically correct way to say this. You know, military and, you know, I'm a New Yorker and Puerto Rican, we say some stuff that we ain't supposed to say sometimes. But they will rezone schools depending on how much other parents are liking certain schools in certain students in certain areas. They have started rezoning schools to change the borderline because they're like, we don't want, they're saying it without saying it, but they're rezoning schools to fit a certain criteria of students. I don't know how to politically correctly say that. But you get what I'm saying, that they're rezoning schools. So certain students in certain areas will stay in one school or be at one school and not at their school.
There's just so many things you can say about that.
Really? Really? And when I was in high school, it was so weird because I went to Taft High School. And we had a daycare program. And it's so weird when we say daycare program because every single time I say it, they're like, oh, so the kids at the school had kids. And I'm like, no. I was like, no. So they taught you how to run a daycare. The neighborhood parents would bring their kids to a daycare that the school had opened. And the purpose was for the students to be able to run a daycare. And it wasn't just in learning how to run a daycare. It was in the fact that we learned how to run a business. So we got to switch off and on, and we figured out this is our budget. This is how much we can spend. This is how much we can go to the store with. This is how much it will still take to run a business and have a business successful with being a profit. These are colors that work for people, work for kids. These are things that hype people up, but we learned how to successfully run a business or a daycare center They don't have things like that anymore. Like we did that for like 2 or 3 hours out of the day. You had to be like a senior, but you learn. And of course it was kind of fun because you got to play with little kids for a little bit. And then, but the learning that now I go back and I said, oh, I learned how to budget, not just for a personal budget, but budget in a business. But they don't have things like that. Like you have to go to college to learn those kind of things. And I'm not even sure if that, and you're learning, and it's book knowledge that they're teaching you in college. You're not learning the hands-on experience of going, here's money in your hand, go to the store. You have to be able to get enough food and supplies to last the whole entire week and then still have a profit. And we were like running across the street to the store, buying food, coming back, figuring out how to distribute it to make sure it was right. But even in college, like they don't teach you too much hands-on training. It's like book knowledge that you still don't know anything about.
It's crazy. And to think we pay so much money for college and still come out and work at Target.
High school. I'm just like, yeah, what do you guys do? And they're like, well, they'll take you to a college and then you can learn these skills. Like they had like this bus that takes them, you know, that will teach them how to do it. But I'm just like, yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
That's,
and,
oh my goodness.
And, you know, and it hurts my heart that in a way, I'm glad that I'm able to help people run businesses, but it hurts my heart that it's not things that are being taught anymore in a practical sense. But I'm glad that I'm able to show people how to run a successful business from A to Z. But it still hurts me to be like, this is something that, you know, we need to be learning.
Most definitely. I'm super excited. And like I said, I was excited to have this conversation with you because I see that as speakers, we're not thinking of speaking as a business. We're not thinking of it being one of our businesses. We're just thinking, oh, I'm going to go and somebody's going to pay me to speak on a stage. That's not looking at it as a business. That's being reactive, not proactive. And so when we decide that we're going to now be proactive and move forward in the things that we're doing, now I got to look at everything different. Now I do have to have some accountability. Now I do have to go ahead and have some discipline because there are some things that I can do and I can't do as I'm moving forward and building this structure.
Yeah, but you're doing such a great job because I can see your passion in you that is so willing to help others. And that's why I was so attracted to you. I'm like, oh, that's you. That's my unicorn. Because you can see passion in some people, but they really want to show other people knowledge and teach them how to do things and make them grow into a better person for them and their children. And some other people are like, I'm just trying to get money. You know,
it's a lot of those out there. It's a lot of those out there. So I'm super excited. So I want to ask this last question that I always ask before I let you go for today is, you know, in this journey, has there been any blunders that you've had? You know, we've talked about some of the blunders when it comes to building a business or becoming the speaker or writing the book. What has been a blunder for you that you look back now and you're like, yeah, maybe that wasn't the right way to go?
I think life is full of blunders because I do them. I'm human. I am human. I have blunders and my job is to overcome it. But my blunder is sometimes starting a business and not knowing it was going to grow as fast as it was going to. So maybe not having an automated system that was behind me, not to have enough VAs behind me, not to change my payroll system before, like, you know, between 25 and then 125 people came on payroll. So I have all those little blunders, and I think they all gave me, you know, a step back. I'm like, okay, did I just move back 2 or 3 steps? Like, what just happened? But I think the thing is when it happens, it humbles us back to where we need it to be. Sometimes you need to be humbled because you're like, oh, look, I'm doing this. And they're like, do-do-do. And you're like, hold up. And it gives you a chance to get humbled, reassess the whole entire situation to figure out what you could have done better. And I love my blunders because the blunders that I have with doing my business prevents others from having blunders, because when I'm teaching you how to do it A to Z, you're not having that blunder because I've already done it. So I'm kind of grateful for my blunders. I was like, as long as it doesn't cause my business to be under, we're doing good because I'm learning from it. And I can recoup off of it, but some other people might not be able to recoup off a certain blunder. So I would think my biggest one right now as we speak is going to be automation, to get automation done and done correctly. I'm slow at learning. I'm a slow learner sometimes. That's real way. I'm a slow learner at times, and I need to get that particular thing situated. But I think they're all great to help us grow. And I think everyone humbles me, because sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing great. And it's just like, oh, not as good as I thought I was. Let me go ahead and go back to the drawing board.
You know, it's interesting to have those type of people around you sometimes. You're like, ouch, ouch, ouch.
Yeah. You feel the sting. You're like, okay, I got it. Thank you, God. Thank you. I look back and I felt it. I know. We together.
Yeah, we good. I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm sorry you had to kick me. You probably whispered in my ear a couple of times. And I was like, whatever. I was probably like, I don't hear it. Shh, I got this. It was like stumble, fall. Like, okay, I got it now.
I definitely have to agree with you, though, because, you know, it's been the blunders. It's been the things that have tripped me up that have really brought me to a place of, even when I do the World Voice League and I'm able to open it up and say, okay, listen, this is what I'm learned. This is what I've learned. I put it in a digital resource center so you can learn it too, you know, so you don't have to make those same mistakes. So you don't have to, you know, two-step it and trip and stumble. You don't have to do any of that. Let me put you in a position so that way you can get what it is that you need. I'm super excited about that. I'm just like through the roof. So I'm excited though.
I'm so happy I got to be on here. I'm so excited. I'm like,
So let everybody know how to get in contact with you, because they may want more information about signing up for your services, as well as let them know where they can find you at on social media.
Okay, so to find me on social media would be Sekeena Jackson. That is S as in Sam, E-K, E-E, N as in Nancy, A, Jackson. You know those ones that people always mess up on. Sekeena Jackson, I will be the one with the picture with the pink around them that talks about a speaker engagement, because there are actually two Sekeena Jacksons. Never figured. Also, we are on Facebook at Home Business System without the S, or you can contact us at homebusinesssystem.com or homebusinesssystems.com. For all those people that keep on putting them S's in there, we surely got that domain for you. So you can contact us anyway. Even if you go in there, you can schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. I'm always happy to talk about which program is best for you. One system that is good for one person doesn't mean that it's good for another one. So I really want to make sure that you're on the correct system that is right for you.
And that makes so much sense, guys. We got to make sure that we are doing what's going to be right for us, because we are trying to do what? Build businesses, leave legacies. We're trying to change the world. Guys, you know, I'm excited because you guys showed up. And don't forget, even if you're catching it via the replay, leave us a comment. Leave us a review over on iTunes, bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast Show, all lowercase. Tell us how this particular episode resonated with you, if it was something you really genuinely needed, something that you love, something that just made you feel not too funny on the inside. That's okay. We want to know. Let us know. bit.ly/Speakeasy Podcast Show, all lowercase. And if you are a speaker, an author, or an entrepreneur, I would love to have you on as a guest. bit.ly/Speakeasy. That part. Make sure that you come and check us out, because guess what? There is an audience that needs exactly what it is that you have to offer, and they don't need it from anybody else except you. So that's why it's time for us to step it on up and get everything that is that we need so we can move forward in this journey. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, guys, don't forget to press it out. See you.